Good afternoon and welcome to this Bass Coast Shire Council meeting Wednesday the 15th of October 2025. Could I ask that everyone please turn off all mobile telephones, or in the case of an emergency, please advise the chair and switch to silent mode. I'd like to start by acknowledging the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the lands and waters, and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd now like to hand over to Councillor O'Brien to read the councillor statement, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All members of this council pledge to the Bass Coast Shire community to consider every item listed on this agenda based on the individual merits of each item, without bias or prejudice, by maintaining an open mind and disregarding councillors' personal interests so as to avoid any conflict with our public duty. Any councillor having a conflict of interest in an item will make a proper prior disclosure to the meeting and will not participate in the debate nor vote on the issue.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Item 1 on the agenda is present and apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Jan Thompson today. Item 2, declarations of interest, of which I have none. Item 3 is confirmation of minutes for the council meeting held on the 8th of October 2025. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Edwards. Is there anyone against? All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. Item 4 is the Mayor and Councillor reports, which will be printed in the minutes, although I do have one item Councillor Thompson has asked me to read on her behalf, which is a veil to John Eldrick Taylor. John was born in 1932 in London. He came to Australia as a youth with his younger brother David. His mother raised them on her own and temporarily lived in South Gippsland for a time before moving back to Hampton. John and David went to boarding school for several years, and he completed his studies before joining the RAAF as an apprentice in electrical engineering. In 1954, he was sent to Japan as part of the peacekeeping force after the Korean War armistice. He returned to Australia, living at the Lavington RAAF base, where he met with his soon-to-be wife, Judith. They moved to East Bentley, where they raised 3 children. He was a hands-on father who taught them how to build billy carts, skateboards and stargazing on summer nights. As a family, they had many camping and caravan holidays which have created lasting memories of a bonded family. He made sure that all his children had a good education, and for that they are all grateful. And thankful for his sacrifices to ensure this happened. His great hobby was an amateur radio operator, otherwise known as a HAM. His call sign was VK3NS, and would spend many hours talking to people around the world from his garage. He was often called upon to provide communication support to the firefighters fighting bushfires in regional areas. He began a business called Air Communications based at Moorabbin Airport with his Air Force mate Les Coleman. They ran a successful business from 1964 until 2003, when John retired at the age of 71 years. John made the move to Coronella in 1998 and immediately became part of the community, making lots of friends on various community groups. He joined the Coronella Residents and Ratepayers Association and was a valuable contributing member. Earlier this year, at the ripe old age of 93 years, he was on the executive committee offering valuable advice. He advocated for projects, fundraising, and was our representative on the Small Coastal Township Alliance, who seek greater planning controls for the small coastal towns of the Bass Coast. Over the years, he attended many veterans events and luncheons. At 89 years of age, he was invited to Korea to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the signing of the armistice ending the Korean War. It was a trip of a lifetime where he and others were honoured by the people of Korea and Australian personnel, including the Air Chief Marshal, Rob Chipman, and the Minister for Veteran Affairs, Matt Keogh. This year, at 93 years, he was privileged to do the Veterans Lap of the AFL match between Collingwood and Essendon. In June this year, he was given the honour of giving the veterans reading at the memorial of the 75th anniversary of Australian service in the Korean War at the Korean War Memorial in Canberra. It was broadcast by the ABC and the service is currently on iView if you'd like to watch. John was an avid dog lover and had a variety of small and bigger dogs over the years that he walked, and they became great companions after his wife Judith passed. John was a great sage and mentor to many. He was always someone that people listened to and they valued his views and advice. He was a passionate advocate for his community and will be sorely missed by all. Vale John Eldrick Taylor, a life well lived. Thank you. Item 5, public question time. Excuse me while I find my page. Question 1. We do have one questioner in the gallery today who would like to ask their question. I will call your name out as we get to that question, but before then we have a few to get through. Question 1, Philip Davey. Topic, special charge scheme. In a special charge scheme, council has never explained who pays for the half road cost along the frontage of Nature Parks land, except to say Nature Parks is not liable. Does council pay the costs or do the ratepayers who live in the street?
Through the Mayor, the Southern... I'm going to shift that over a bit.
A little bit.
Through the Mayor, the southern foreshore land managed by Phillip Island Nature Parks and the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action is not included in the special charge scheme. Only the privately owned northern properties are considered to receive a direct and significant special benefit from the project. The project costs will be shared between council and the ratepayers within the scheme area. The council will contribute 70%.
Question 2, Philip Davey. Topic, the Esplanade, Sunderland Bay. Is council aware that the new Waterman Lade in the Esplanade, Sunderland Bay is located where the proposed curbing and drainage should go and will require moving of the roadway closer to the ocean, which will result in removal of native vegetation and probably require installation of a safety guard rail?
Through the Mayor, yes, council has reviewed the design plans for the new water main. The future road and drainage upgrade has been designed to accommodate the existing water main without requiring the road to be shifted closer to the ocean. This means there will be no additional impact on native vegetation and no need for a safety guardrail.
Question 3, Graham Jolly. Topic, Capital Works Budget. On the 1st of July 2025, council had $60.871 million of funds. The 2025-26 Capital Works budget, $34.703 million plus $9.334 million of carryover, total $44.037 million. Why historically has council only spent less than $4 million in the first quarter, while at the same time first rates instalments are paid?
Through the Mayor, council rates revenue is recognised in the first quarter of the financial year at the time the rates notices are generated. The cash is collected across the financial year depending on the ratepayer's choice to pay either in full by the 15th of February or by instalment. Council's operational expenditure, including operational projects such as Wonthaggi landfill rehabilitation, resulted in cash outflows of over $20 million for the first quarter. The capital expenditure timing reflects the seasonal nature, permits and procuring practices and project phasing.
Question 4, Graham Jolly, topic, budget. Council's adjusted underlying yearly losses 2024, $11.7 million, 2025, $6.788 million. On the 1st of July 2025, Council's budget has planned for another loss of $10 million, operating loss $1.513 million. These results are a clear indication Council is spending more than it generates in its own right. I'm not sure that's a question, Mr. Box, but I'll allow you to answer.
Through the Mayor, the adjusted underlying deficit excludes non-recurrent income such as capital grants but includes depreciation expense. The recorded deficits reflect Council's reliance on one-off capital grants to fund infrastructure upgrades and renewals. Recent asset revaluations have also increased annual depreciation expenses. The 2025-26 budgeted adjusted underlying deficit is primarily influenced by higher depreciation costs and expenditure on the Wonthaggi Landfill Rehabilitation Project, which is funded through Council's discretionary reserves.
Question 5, Darren Murphy. Topic, resealing roads. The Koala Estate has had the benefit of bitumen or dust suppression roads for 18 years. What is our special benefit under a special charge scheme if we only want our roads resealed with no other not needed improvements such as curb and channel drainage or footpaths?
Through the Mayor, Koala Estate was one of a group of pilot temporary sealing projects in the early 2000s. As the road is currently in a poor state, the property owners would receive a special benefit from a properly constructed, permanently maintained, sealed road. Council would continue to inspect, maintain and renew the new road, seal and pavement in line with its sealed road network service standards.
Question 6, Fred Morris. Topic, budget. The previous annual report 2023-24 reported as a heading guarantees for leases to other entities, of which Phillip Island Nature Parks is listed as $350,000. Why is this in place when Phillip Island Nature Parks are self-funding and funded by the state government?
Through the Mayor, the guarantee is required by Phillip Island Nature Parks for Council's legacy landfill operations undertaken on leased land that they manage. Phillip Island Nature Parks requires Council to provide financial security for these operations to cover any potential loss.
Question 7, Louise Lyle. Topic, Engage page. Regarding Council's Engage page, CEO Box stated at a previous meeting 3 submissions came from one IP address. Generally, 2 to 5 people reside at the same address and use the same computer. Is Council planning to limit the number of submissions per IP address to 1?
Through the Mayor, Council does not intend to limit the number of submissions from a single IP address. However, Council reserves the right to review and limit submissions if the volume received from one source is higher than that would be reasonably be expected from a single household.
Question 8, Louise Lyle. Topic, Burn and Eat Passive House. At the July 2025 Council meeting, CEO Box stated Burn and Eat Passive House accreditation is currently pending. It is almost 2 years since Burn and Eat was opened with great fanfare and awards. When does CEO Box expect there will be a decision on Passive House accreditation?
Through the Mayor, the Passive House accreditation was submitted for assessment in early 2025. As this process is undertaken by an international certification body based in Germany, Council is not provided with a fixed time frame for when an outcome will be received. Officers are in regular contact and will continue to seek updates on the progress of the assessment.
Question 9, Gina Rosamalia. Topic, Golden Cypress. Why is Council going to remove a low-height heritage-listed golden cypress tree at the bottom end and left of Thompson Avenue in Cowes as part of the streetscape upgrade which is under construction?
Through the Mayor, the Cowes Foreshore Precinct project is designed to create a welcoming and inclusive space that is accessible to everyone. As part of this commitment, the project will deliver improved ramping on the west side of Thompson Avenue to meet modern accessibility standards and ensure safe, easy movement for all members of the community. To achieve the necessary level changes for the new accessible ramping, the existing golden cypress tree will be replaced. Its current location would be affected by the raised levels required to improve accessibility, which could impact on the tree's longer-term health.
Question 10, Ernie Westergaard. Topic, electricity costs. Why is Council's electricity costs increasing year by year at a considerable increase when Council has installed and continues to install solar panels and batteries to Council buildings in the Shire?
Through the Mayor, Council's electricity costs include all streetlights within the municipality, all buildings, arts and culture venues and community facilities where Council is the Committee of Management, many still reliant on existing electricity supply. To date, Council has installed more than 300 kilowatts of solar PV panels and 120 kilowatts of battery storage in a range of community facilities. These systems reduce demand for grid electricity, help offset the cost, and provide energy resilience in the event of a grid outage. All grid electricity for Council facilities is sourced from 100% renewable energy generated in Victoria. The net increase in electricity costs across all Council sites reflects an overall growth in assets and the increased utilisation of facilities.
Thank you, Mr Box. Question 11, I have Sue Chadwick who'd like to ask her question. Sue, just come to the table and just pull that microphone in close enough so that they can hear you. And Councillor, does it go any? Yeah, that's fine. Have a seat. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you for allowing
Lovely.
me to talk to my subject. The topic is Welcome to Country. Council, please explain why the Welcome to Country meeting introduction has been ceased. Federal and state politicians are working hard to encourage reconciliation between our First Nations people and non-Aboriginal people. Surely inclusion of these first caretakers of the land is imperative in meeting procedures, and Council has forsaken that.
Thank you, Sue, for your question. I'm going to get the CEO, Mr Box, to answer. Please stay there. Once he's answered, we'll get you to move back to the gallery. Thank you.
Through the Mayor, a Welcome to Country is the ceremony performed by traditional owners or Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people and is included at a number of Council events. It's the acknowledgement of country that forms part of Council's monthly meeting agenda, and this is read by the Mayor.
Thank you, Sue.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sue be given that. She got it in writing. And that is the end of public question time for this meeting, councillors. We'll now go back to the agenda item 6, which is notices of motion, which we have none. Item 7, which is petitions, joint letters, deputations and correspondence, which we have none. Therefore, we'll move straight to item 8, reports requiring council decision, and 8.1 is the 2024-2025 annual report. It is my pleasure to present Bass Coast's 2024-25 annual report presented to the meeting today. This report is a reflection of our collective efforts over the past year and the many ways our community continues to grow and thrive. These documents have been carefully shaped by the new council in partnership with our community and with the guidance of our dedicated officers. I sincerely thank everyone who contributed for their selfless commitment to making a difference through engagement with our communities. The report highlights the strength of our major industries: healthcare, retail, construction, tourism and agriculture, and captures key insights into local employment, economic input and output, and the importance of tourism and events to our economy. Council is committed to maintaining a strong financial position, but it's critical we deliver the essential services and infrastructure our community relies on. I commend our finance team for their diligence and professionalism in navigating the challenges of cost pressures, grant delays and rate capping constraints, and I note that the signed auditors' reports were provided by the Victorian Auditor General's Office at 5 p.m. last night. Much of what council delivers happens quietly, without fanfare, but it all plays a role in supporting the community, from roads and recreation facilities to planning, events and advocacy. This annual report tells the story of a vibrant community, living, working, playing, dreaming and planning together. Our Community Vision 2042 and Council Plan 2025 to 2029, adopted at last week's meeting, and both focus on sustainable growth, improving livability and strengthening connections across our region, lay out the path to continuing this excellent work. My thanks and congratulations go to our residents, councillors, the executive leadership team and every staff member who continues to make Bass Coast such a special place. I am now, councillors, looking for a mover. Councillor Tassari, seconder Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and that was very well spoken to by yourself there. Our new group of councillors, well, I say new, they've been in the gig now for something like 11 months, but they've been itching to get their teeth into these plans, and we've got a library of plans that are being released or voted on today, and some last week, and they've got our councillors and our staff and our community's fingerprints all over them. It's been a lot of hard work put together by our finance and governance team. I congratulate them on the work that they have done, dealing with 9 councillors, 6 of which are brand new and itching to get their teeth into this. I congratulate the councillors themselves on the work that they have done working with the community and the community themselves on coming forward and helping us to put this annual plan together. More than happy to move this, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Temby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The annual report is a great reflection of the activities and projects that Bass Coast Shire Council has contributed to over the past year and the finances associated with making it possible. We've had massive community engagement to help ensure that we better understand what is important to our residents in the context of what is achievable within our budgetary constraints and our ability to influence other sectors beyond our control. Congratulations to all involved for their contributions to, among many other things, lots of projects, events, capital works, celebrating our community and business leaders and our 100-year anniversary of the Wonthaggi Community Arts Centre. Well done to all involved.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Does any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor O'Brien?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, I'd just like to reflect that our annual report is both a backwards and a forwards-looking document, and we're really pleased. And we came in sort of part way through that much of what we find in this report is a reflection on the past council, but it's certainly a great platform. And for those who are, say, looking for the Western Port Woodlands, that's part now of the forward-looking vision. So there is, in many ways, it's a backwards and a forwards-looking document. But we've achieved a lot in the Bass Coast Council, and I think that this report reflects that.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Does any other councillor wish to speak or add to the debate? All righty, Councillor Tassari, will we put that to the vote?
Put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour of the recommendation? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Bauer, as well. 8.2, Long-Term Financial Plan 2025 to 2035. Mr Dillon to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present the long-term financial plan for Council's adoption, following community feedback on the draft plan endorsed in August. The feedback received included support for the development of the former Wonthaggi Secondary College site, endorsement of additional funding for local and urban roads programmes, requests for greater investment in arts, culture and heritage, and a desire to enhance reporting under the Council's plan's strategic objectives. All feedback has been carefully considered in finalising the plan. The plan has been developed using sound financial assumptions, outlining Council's projected revenue and expenditure over the long term. It accounts for increasing waste management costs, higher depreciation expenses, and financial impact of legislative remediation works at current and former landfill sites, along with the impact of higher infrastructure asset valuations. Despite these pressures, the plan supports an ambitious capital works programme. It identifies the use of borrowings and financial reserves to enable delivery of key intergenerational projects, including the former Montague Secondary College site redevelopment, the Phillip Island Sporting Precinct, and Montague Aquatic and Leisure Centre, all while maintaining current community service levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Morgan, seconder. Councillor Bell. Councillor Morgan, would you like to speak?
Would love to. Thank you, Madam Mayor. The long-term financial plan sets clear parameters for how we manage both revenue, debt, asset renewal and service delivery. I think this plan responds to the real pressures that we're facing as a growing coastal community. We know the challenges. There's cost shifting from the state, there's ageing infrastructure, population growth, and the increasing cost of climate resilience. And the long-term financial plan doesn't ignore those realities. It's there to plan for them. It includes responsible borrowing limits, prudent reserves, and forward-looking investment strategies that will, help us keep building the essential infrastructure without placing undue burden on future ratepayers. And I hope for any Gen Zers listening that this plan delivers for you. The economic papers aren't always the most exciting piece of comms, so apologies to the gallery. But this is very important for the sake of transparency also. It gives our community a clear line of sight into how decisions made today flow into those next 10 years, how capital works are prioritised, how maintenance is funded, and how we'll maintain service standards whilst managing financial risk. That openness aims to build public trust. Long-term financial planning is by no means glamorous, but it's critically important. So I'm proud to support the plan and commend the officers for their professionalism and foresight.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Bell?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. The long-term financial plan is more than just numbers. It's a roadmap, as Matt said, Councillor Morgan, for how we'll support and grow our community over the coming years. It includes major projects like the Phillip Island Sporting Precinct, while addressing the key challenges of rate capping, population growth and waste management. This plan reflects what our community has told us matters most, from funding for the Montague Secondary School site, aquatics, Phillip Island, the Phillip Island Recreation Reserve, Erdy, supporting residents to also keep the roads and the footpaths safe, and investments in sports, transport and sustainability. These are real actions with real impact. Safer roads, better facilities and smarter infrastructure all contribute to a stronger and more connected Bass Coast.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Is there any other councillor that wishes to add? Councillor Tassari?
Just briefly, if I can, Madam Mayor, just to add to the fantastic comments from Councillor Morgan and Bell, and the great work that's put here for the long-term vision of Bass Coast being financially sustainable. Mr Boxon and myself spent all day yesterday at Parliament House continuing to advocate to ministers, departments and such for projects for Bass Coast, and it's really, really important, this long-term vision, to free up funds to be able to continue for those to advocate for projects that this community has well and truly told us that they need. So this is an important piece of work to lead towards that, and congratulations to the team that put it forward.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Anything further from councillors around the table?
Yes.
Thank
Hello.
you. Councillor Bauer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. I wish to draw fellow islanders' attention to the line entry, Phillip Island Aquatics, 40 million, which is in the future projects. I have fought tooth and nail to keep the Phillip Island Aquatics alive, albeit on life support. To some, this line entry will appear superfluous, but to those of us that still live in hope of an aquatic centre and a recreation reserve, this is a crucial entry. By being listed in the long-term plan, it still remains a part of our advocacy. Remember,
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. If there's nothing further, councillors. Councillor Morgan, would you like to?
Let's put it to the vote, Madam Mayor.
All righty, all those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Item 8.3, Asset Plan. Ms Taylor to introduce this report, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report presents the Asset Plan 2025 to 2035 to Council for adoption. The plan outlines how Council will manage our over $1.47 billion in infrastructure assets, including roads, drainage, buildings, open space and pathways over the next decade. It aligns with the Council Plan and Community Vision 2045 and reflects extensive community engagement. The plan supports sustainable service delivery, prioritises renewal and maintenance, and ensures assets meet agreed service levels. It also incorporates climate resilience, accessibility, and financial sustainability principles. It is recommended that the plan be adopted. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover? Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Tassari. Councillor Temby, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the context of having responsibility for nearly $1.5 billion worth of assets, we have a massive task in ensuring that they're fit for purpose when required. This involves ongoing assessments, maintenance where needed, replacements, upgrades, and at times disposal. It reflects lots of community consultation on our needs and priorities through individuals raising issues, deliberative engagement sessions, surveys, etc., combined with the long-term financial plan and related council plans for roads, buildings, drainage, structures, pathways, and most importantly, open space. The focus is appropriately on maintenance and renewal. Importantly, the asset plan includes climate resilient planning, sustainable transport, and environmentally sustainable design. To me, we should also be placing greater awareness on our green assets, the Western Port woodlands, our coastal vegetation, and our natural environment more generally. These are the assets that attract our residents and visitors to our shire. They are also the rare assets that increase in value as they age. Well done to all involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari.
Madam Mayor, I'm not sure that I could add to that, to be honest, so I'm happy to support Councillor Temby.
Does any other councillor wish to speak to this asset plan? All righty, we might pop that to the vote. Is that okay, Councillor Temby? We're good to go to the vote? All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. 8.4, Healthy, Safe and Resilient Bass Coast Plan 2025 to 2029. Ms Kennedy to introduce, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Council adoption of the Healthy, Safe and Resilient Bass Coast Plan 2025 to 2029. The plan is Council's legislated municipal public health and wellbeing plan under the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008. The plan was developed with extensive input from community, partners and stakeholders and reflects the shared health and wellbeing priorities across Bass Coast. In response to feedback, the plan has identified 5 key themes: healthy and active living, safe and inclusive communities, equitable access and social infrastructure, thriving children and young people, and country connection and climate. Adoption of the plan ensures Council remains compliant with the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008 and is well positioned to deliver measurable improvements in community health and wellbeing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Kennedy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bell, seconder. Councillor Temby. Councillor Bell, would you like to introduce?
Yeah, this plan was built on the voices of over 400 community members, including young people, older people, people with disability, culturally diverse residents, LGBTQIA+ community members. With the key priorities, as Ms Kennedy said, are shaping all the actions in the plan through the anti-vaping campaign, expanded prevention partnerships, and a commitment to safe and welcoming spaces for all ages. There's also, in response to the engagement, it looks like they've strengthened the monitoring framework to ensure accountability with the clear indicators and partner responsibilities. I can see that the plan is about real change that supports wellbeing, inclusion and opportunity across the Shire. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Temby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, the Healthy, Safe and Resilient Bass Coast Plan incorporates a number of sub-plans, and extensive community consultation has gone into all of these sub-plans that make up this broader one. Importantly, anti-vaping and gambling harm is included, along with greater focus on older adults, transport and climate health. Those who can help deliver these services, as well as clearer indicators to monitor and report on success or otherwise. The plan also incorporates the Council's economic, social and environmental and climate change priorities in the context of all the sub-plans and their stakeholders. As is really important for all organisations and individuals, these plans and Council's approach to its work is evidence-based, strategic and inclusive. The plan represents a gigantic workload. Well done to all involved. I commend the Healthy, Safe and Resilient Bass Coast Plan to all.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Is there any other councillor that wishes to add? Councillor O'Brien and then Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was privileged to speak at Pickle at the opening of part of the sub plans that Councillor Tenby has reflected on there, and there are a whole lot of things that sit behind this. This plan 2025 to 2029. It's really about one of those things is of thinking about the unthinkable, and what happens in an emergency. Where do we go? What support is available? And so preparing for things like bushfire and flood and inundation. It's all about making things safer for our residents, and when the unthinkable happens, that we've gone through the processes, we have new processes and procedures in place, and we have places where people can go to charge their phones, to find information. Should there ever be, heaven forfend, another a dreadful incident like the Gippsland bushfires, where communities were isolated for long periods of time. So it's about thinking about those things and having a plan in place to make sure that we can deal with them and that the community is supported should they ever happen again.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Really important information. Councillor Morgan, would you like to speak?
Yeah, thanks. Just very quickly, I'd also like to acknowledge the extensive community engagement that shaped this plan, including the officers. I can see some of you sitting in the back there. Thanks for your work. Appreciate it. Council alone can't deliver on every outcome of the plan, but by collaborating with health agencies, schools, neighbourhood houses, emergency services and community groups, we can create a network of care that is greater than the sum of all of its parts. The plan recognises the increasing challenges that we're facing as a community, from the housing crisis, cost of living and growing inequality, to the mental health impacts of climate anxiety and social isolation. The plan doesn't shy away from the big issues. It's there to give us a framework for action. So whether it's investing in active transport, supporting volunteer groups or building safer public spaces, every decision we make needs to contribute to that healthier, safe and more resilient Bass Coast. Very happy to support it.
Thanks, Councillor Morgan. Any other councillor wish to add to the discussion? We'll go back to Councillor Bell. Would you like to
put it to the vote, Madam?
Put it to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We're zipping through these. 8.5, the Disability Action Plan 2025 to 2029. Ms Kennedy, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Council adoption of the Disability Action Plan 2025 to 2029.
Excuse me, Ms Kennedy, one moment. I'm sorry, we can't take anything from the floor. I'm sorry, you'll have to put your hand down. No, I'm sorry, we can't take anything from. I can't take anything from the floor. I'm sorry, I can't take anything from the floor. Jodie? Sorry.
The
Ms.
plan
Kennedy.
meets Council's legislative requirements under the Disability Act 2006. The plan reflects Council's commitments to inclusion, access and equity for people with a disability. The Disability Action Plan responds to emerging challenges identified by community, including the cost and accessibility of transport and housing, limited availability of local disability and mental health supports, safety and inclusion in public spaces, and the impacts of climate change and emergencies on people with a disability and carers. The plan sets a clear direction for improving equity and access across the Shire, outlining Council's role as an enabler, collaborator, advocate, promoter and service provider. Adoption of the plan will ensure measurable progress towards a more inclusive Bass Coast, where all people can participate fully in community life. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Temby. Seconder? Councillor Morgan. Thank you. Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Disability Action Plan seeks to reduce barriers to goods, services and facilities and barriers to employment. It promotes inclusion and participation in community life and will help to achieve measurable change in the attitudes and practices that discriminate against people living with disability. The adoption and full implementation of this community-driven plan will benefit everyone in the community and especially those who can be challenged by many of our current behaviours, attitudes, systems and practices. I'd like to especially recognise the work done by Councillor Jan Thompson for her major contributions to this plan as well. It has my full support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Morgan.
Thanks, Mayor, and fine words, Councillor Temby, and also acknowledging Councillor Thompson's work on this, who's not with us today. I think it's important to note, and this shouldn't have to be said, that every person in Bass Coast, regardless of ability, should be able to participate fully in community life, access the services they need and feel that they belong. This plan, like everything in the disability space, requires co-design with people who have lived experience of disability. There is so much that happens in the disability space that fails to meet those basic requirements. Their voices are reflected throughout this plan, from access to infrastructure and employment opportunities to attitudes awareness and representation. That process has made this not just a policy document, but a community blueprint for equity and dignity. The plan lays out practical actions that will help make a real difference. It focuses on 4 key pillars: access, inclusion, attitudes, and advocacy. These are all tangible commitments if you have a look at the strategy and will drive lasting change, not just for the people with disability, but for everyone, because an accessible community benefits us all. I wholeheartedly support this plan and commend the officers, community partners and residents who helped develop it.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Is there any other councillor that wishes to contribute? Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just very, very briefly and fantastic words already put forward by the councillors. Congratulations to the staff that worked tirelessly on this report. Their passion to put all of these reports together, but this one in particular was really evident. And when they did come and speak with us, it was quite incredible the amount of time and energy that they put into this report. It's not until you're actually touched by disability that you realise the lack of wraparound resources that we have down here in Bass Coast and anywhere in the regions, to be perfectly honest. So this is really, really important piece of work for us to move forward to ensure that everybody in our community has access to what they need.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Is there anything, Councillor Edwards?
Just briefly, and just want to again thank Councillor Thompson and the officers involved, but just I think that first-hand experience of Councillor Thompson and more recently with my son who had double hip surgery and was in a wheelchair for a number of months this year, accessing around our towns actually became really first-hand about how some areas are quite inaccessible and you don't think about them when you're able-bodied, and it's only until you get to that point of actually needing these things. And you do live in an ageing community as well, and how many people this is going to benefit. So I'm looking forward to seeing the outcomes, and hopefully I don't get that first-hand experience again, but so many in our community do. So I'd just like to thank everybody involved.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Is there any other councillors that wish to add to the discussion? Back to Councillor Temby.
Put it to the vote. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. I'm sorry, I can't take any comments from the floor. Mr Jolly, you've been in the chamber every meeting that I've chaired and you know the rules. I'm not able to engage in the gallery. There's the opportunity to put in public questions. There's the opportunity to email councillors, but the gallery is only able to observe when you come in to see how a council meeting is run and decisions are made. I'm sorry, I cannot take anything from the floor. 8.6 is the Domestic Animal Management Plan 2026 to 2029. Ms Kennedy, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek council adoption of the Domestic Animal Management Plan 2026 to 2029, as required under Section 86A of the Domestic Animals Act 1994. Significant community consultation informed the development of the Domestic Animal Management Plan, with over 800 community members providing feedback. The Domestic Animal Management Plan addresses ongoing and emergent community priorities regarding animal management, with a vision to support a thriving, healthy community where responsible pet ownership and environmental stewardship go hand in hand, ensuring safe, shared spaces that protect biodiversity while enriching the lives of people and their animals. The Bass Coast Domestic Animal Management Plan establishes a strategic framework for management of domestic animals, promoting responsible pet ownership, enhancing health and wellbeing benefits of dogs in open spaces, and protecting natural assets and environments in Bass Coast. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Kennedy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bell, a seconder? Oh, Councillor Temby might have just got in there before you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Bell, would you like to introduce?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Despite differing views across our community that was gleaned through the engagement, there are a couple of things that we all agree on. First, that non-compliance by a few impacts the experience of many, especially those responsible pet owners. And second, that protecting our natural environment is essential. This DAMP, it puts strong emphasis on compliance, and I'm glad that we'll see more officers on the ground, clearer signage, and more people doing the right thing as we move into the implementation of this plan. And in fact, first hot off the press is that the team are already getting some early start, late start rostering in train, and that the community safety team has started increasing visibility and patrols during those hours outside of work hours already. They've delivered multiple patrols at San Remo and other priority beach locations already through this plan. So ultimately, this plan is about creating a safer, cleaner and more respectful Bass Coast for everyone, residents, visitors and our natural environment.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Temby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To add to Councillor Bell's comments, resulting from a mammoth community engagement process, the Domestic Animal Management Plan, or DAMP, is a good document that with full implementation and strong policing should resolve the seemingly intractable issues around irresponsible pet owners, allowing their animals to adversely interact with wildlife, and the primary legal and moral responsibility we have to allow our wildlife to exist undisturbed. Strong policing and the immediate and heavier fines for infringement should help to get the message through that pet or feral animals' interference with our wildlife is illegal, seriously irresponsible and grossly selfish on the part of the owner. The wet lettuce approach of a verbal warning has no impact on these people. They need strong deterrence via fines. The prompt use of serious fines should eventually get through to these people. If this occurs, then the majority of pet owners who keep their animals under full control can continue to enjoy the benefits of allowing their animals to be off leash. The wildlife will hear first. They are under threat from irresponsible pet owners, and hopefully this plan will help to improve pet owner behaviour and allow our wildlife to continue to follow their normal activities without disturbance. I fully support the DAMP on the basis that strong enforcement of the legal obligation from our expanded enforcement team to prevent the disturbance of our wildlife, as well as minimising attacks on people, nuisance behaviour and restrictions on dangerous, menacing and restricted breeds will occur. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Is there any other councillor that we should... Councillor O'Brien and then Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, this is a really good report, and just coming in behind Councillor Bell's comments about increasing numbers of officers, to ensure compliance. It's simply fact that we do need to protect the wombats at San Remo. We need to protect the hooded plovers, and we've got other wildlife that are impacted by the poor behaviours of some, very few, but some pet owners. The other part of this management plan, which is pleasing to see, is that it's also about the welfare of animals. And those of us who love our dogs, love our pets, it is concerning when when animals show up that have obviously been poorly cared for, not desexed, hit on the roads, whatever. So I think this is a really important role of council to look after our wildlife, to ensure that feral animals are controlled, and also to look after the welfare of pets and the animals that contribute so much to us. Contribute so much to our mental health and well-being as citizens.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The domestic animal management strategies had an incredible amount of community engagement. I think 800 pieces of engagement. That's wild for a tiny little local council like us. I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to engage with the plan, but want to give special thanks to those who advocate for the animals that they don't own. For the wombats, the hooded plovers, all of the flora and fauna, we need domestic animals and their owners to take responsibility for the actions of their animals that we've brought into the natural environment of our native wildlife. I'm looking forward to seeing the inland off-leash areas being formalised with fencing in Inverloch. And like my colleagues, I'm glad to share that we're acquiring a couple of new compliance officers. Hopefully this approach allows officers to educate those doing the wrong thing, and granted it is the extreme minority, without ruining it for the responsible pet owners. That being said, I remain extremely concerned about the vulnerability of our native wildlife, especially on particular parts of our beautiful beaches. I've seen the photos and videos of the dogs chasing wildlife and digging in burrows. That must stop. I won't hesitate to bring an urgent motion into this chamber in future if I see that behaviour continuing post the adoption of this plan.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Morgan. That was a quick stop all of a sudden. Is there any other councillor that wishes to... Yes, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to congratulate the officers to start with, and this has been a really complex one to get that balance right, and I think hopefully we've got it. And if I can ask the community to come with us, give it a try, and with kindness to each other, because I know it's a whole heap of angst that's come with this from both sides of the fence. But there's another group of people that we haven't discussed here, and that is young families on the beaches as well. So I really appreciate dog ownership and what that means to so many people. I mean, it's really a member of your family in many cases. I don't have a dog myself. I'm a cat person for my sins. But I know what that means in terms of what an animal, a domestic animal, means in someone's life. It's a member of your family, and that's where it feels like. And so that's really important for mental well-being and for healthiness and fitness and the rest of it. At the same time, I've also been, not anymore, but I have been a young mum with young children on the beach and had dogs bounding towards me. So I get the other side of that too, the wildlife and the care. And I just think the message is, if we all do the right thing, then, there's always going to be a minority that may do the wrong thing. And for that, we can each do our part in saying, putting a note in or just asking them to do the right thing politely. And I guess backing each other up with that. We want to care for our wildlife, we want to care for our families, and we want to care for people who've really care about their dogs, and that's an important part as well. So I'm just hoping that this is, and believe that this new plan is meeting that balance, and I'd like to congratulate everybody on it, and congratulate everybody on all sides of the argument from the community of putting your thoughts forward. I think they're all very valid, and let's move forward in a positive way from here. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Any other councillor wish to add to the discussion? Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. I may sound a bit like a broken record on this one. I've been involved with the DAMP process since the last council when I successfully moved the motion in relation to the off-leash dog runs in San Remo and Cows West. It is my understanding that the Phillip Island and Bass Coast Dog Association and council officers have been working collaboratively to come to the plan which we're about to adopt. I look forward to the inland dog park at the Cows Recreation Reserve. I hope the signage will be clear for all dog owners to observe. The main problem for all council local laws is enforcement. Unfortunately, at the moment, it is too easy to roll the dice. The odds are, if a person flouts the ordinance, they'll probably get away with it. I'm glad to see Ms. Kennedy's team is employing 2 extra enforcement officers and extending the patrol so the amenities can be enjoyed by all and ensure that the pet owners do the right thing. I commend this piece of this report to the council.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. I think that's everyone around the table. So I will go back to Councillor Bell. Did you want to reply, Councillor Bell, or put to the vote? All those in favour of the recommendation? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.7 is the Road Management Plan Review. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This report outlines the findings of the statutory review of the Road Management Plan conducted in accordance with the requirements of the Road Management Act. The review was informed by insurance claims data, internal experts, benchmarking and stakeholder feedback. The report recommends initiating the amendment process to ensure the Road Management Plan reflects current risk environments, community expectations and our legal obligations. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover?
Yeah, yep.
Councillor Temby, a seconder? Councillor Tassari. Councillor Temby to introduce.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As key transport assets, the council needs to ensure that our roads and associated pathways continue to be fit for purpose. This review will assist us to ensure we achieve that objective and will hopefully incorporate any new factors affecting our ability to do so. As with all plans, reviews to ensure that they're up to date and will meet our current and foreseeable needs should occur. I commend it.
Thank you. Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report may be not quite as juicy as some of the other plans and reports that we've passed so far today, but this is just as important as Councillor Temby just touched on, to make sure that our network is fit for purpose and maintained as we need, and to do the constant reviews to make sure that they do continue to stay up to scratch to continue to move forward. So I'm happy to commend this report.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Does any other councillor wish to add to the discussion? We'll go back to Councillor Temby.
Yep, put it to the vote.
To the vote. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.8, Planning Application 109 Lyle Street, Ventnor. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider a planning application for the use of the land for a holistic health and wellness facility at 109 Lyle Street in Ventnor. The application is before Council as 150 objections to the proposal were received. Many of these objections discussed opposition to a drug and alcohol rehabilitation facility at the address. This is not what's being considered today. The application has been assessed and is deemed consistent with the requirements of the Bass Coast Planning Scheme. On this basis, it is recommended that a notice of decision to issue a planning permit be granted. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Brien. A seconder? Councillor Temby. Councillor O'Brien, you just...
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yes, this has generated a whole lot of discussion. I live just around the corner, so I'm very aware and have been approached by many people about this. We in council make decisions on the permit application that's in front of us, and the permit application in front of us is for a wellness centre. I've heard all sorts of stories in my neck of the woods about what this might otherwise be, but this is just a wellness centre. And I think that people standing on one leg and humming, or sitting beside a pond, is not going to greatly disturb the environment down there near the horse riding club, and in fact is a far better use of a facility where an owner wishes to sort of partially commercialise it, I guess is the word. It's only got 5 bedrooms, so it'll only have, very small numbers at a time. But it's far better than having another damned Airbnb right next door. So I'd just like to say, via my comments, that if it was for something else, the permit in front of us would be for something else. But the permit in front of us is just for a wellness centre. It's for people to go and find themselves.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Health and Wellness Centre has my full support, and I recognise that there are numerous people who've expressed concern about it. We need these centres to help our residents and others to get better. And as an appointment-only centre, those seeking assistance want to be helped, and as the fees to attend are significant, they will seek to make the most of their attendance. I cannot see the centre's clients or activities being a nuisance in any way, and for the most part, the neighbours will probably be oblivious to the services or clients on site. Its activities are based on yoga, meditation, lifestyle education, and access to quiet, nature-based recovery spaces. Significant conditions have been identified on the planning permit for the site, and no change to its activities can occur without council approval. Most Airbnbs are far more likely to be a nuisance than this health and wellness facility is ever likely to be. This low-intensity, appointment-only health and wellness centre needs to be established and should be welcomed with open arms by all in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Is there any other councillor? Councillor Bell?
Yes, I'm also in support of the planning application. As Councillor O'Brien and Councillor Temby has said, it's simply a wellness retreat designed to offer things like a meditation weekend or digital detox, primarily for small groups seeking rest and reconnection in nature. I think it aligns well with Phillip Island's ecotourism identity, offering a low-impact, experience-based tourism that complements our region's natural beauty and peaceful atmosphere. And I think it's a great example of how we can support tourism that's both sustainable and beneficial to the local economy.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Bauer?
Ratepayers watching this meeting. Councillor O'Brien and Temby and even Bell have summed this up very well, and notice that all 3 Island Ward councillors are on the same page. I also realise there's been an incredible amount of objections to this proposal. We need to vote on what's in front of us, not the conjecture and whispers that have been swirling around. I have visited the site. It's perfect for what this application is asking to do. It's modern, quiet, secluded and serene. And it's not an Airbnb. Until we have proof to the contrary, I see no reason to refuse this application. And that's supported.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. If there's nothing further, Councillor O'Brien?
Can we put to the vote, Madam Mayor? Thank you.
All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. 8.9, Links Street Surf Beach Road and Drainage Upgrade Project. Notice of declaration. Ms Taylor to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends Council proceed with the notice of declaration for the Links Street Surf Beach Road and Drainage Upgrade. The project responds to a petition demonstrating support from property owners. The proposed works include sealing, curb and channel and drainage improvements. The report outlines the design, cost apportionment methodology and feedback received from the community. It is recommended that Council declare the special charge scheme. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. A mover, please. Councillor Bell, seconder. Councillor Morgan. Councillor Bell, did you wish to speak?
Just to say that now that engagement has been complete, and so with only 2 objections out of the 12 properties on the street, I want to acknowledge and thank both the objectors and the supporters for the time and thought they put into their submission. it's really clear that this is a street that cares deeply about what happens on it. I think what's most important is that this was a community-led petition. Council didn't initiate this, the residents of Link Street did, and so that's why I'm supporting this recommendation. It reflects a genuine desire from the local residents on that street to improve the safety, access and livability in their neighbourhood.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Morgan?
Thanks, I have nothing further to add.
All right. Any other discussion from councillors around the table? Councillor Bell?
Put
To the vote. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. 8.10, Bass Coast Aquatic Strategy 2015, amended and concept master plan. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present to Council an amendment to the Bass Coast Aquatic Strategy 2015 and the concept master plan for the Bass Coast Aquatic and Leisure Centre in Wonthaggi, for the purpose of releasing both for community consultation. The amendments retain Council's commitment to a two-pool strategy, but also recognise the need for renewal and upgrade of the Bass Coast Aquatic and Leisure Centre in Wonthaggi. It is recommended that the concept plan and amended strategy be released for community consultation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. I'm looking for a mover for the recommendation. Councillor Edwards. Seconder. Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Edwards, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is exciting because aquatic facilities in our region are absolutely critical. And this is our only, different to our neighbouring shires, this is our only public swimming pool available in Bass Coast. And it is the same swimming pool that as a primary school kid we came across to and learnt to swim in for myself. And I don't think it's had any work done since then. And it is at risk of obviously having faults at the moment, and we are at risk of not having a pool in the region, which would be absolutely catastrophic for a council that is surrounded by so much coastline, not to have a pool for our children to learn to swim, for our older people to recover in, for not just older people but any people to recover in for enjoyment, I think would absolutely be shocking. And of course we have a couple of amazing clubs that use that facility that punch well above their weight, being the Underwater Hockey Club and the Swimming Club, that are running great gains across the state and elsewhere. And what their needs are in terms of depth and size and everything need to be taken into account to make sure that this pool services their needs. We don't need a Taj Mahal, we need a functioning pool that works, that services those particular clubs and our wider community. And of course the Phillip Island Club, I'm sure Councillor Bauer will have words to speak about this too, the Phillip Island swimming pool is not off the table in the longer term, but it's about getting something actioned and getting started in the short term. And this is an opportunity in the next very short time frame to get this rolling. And I think that's really exciting to think that we could have effectively a new pool in the same vicinity that it is now, within a few years. To get this rolling and to get it happening and get the construction underway, I think is absolutely critical. It's amazing, and just get it done. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yes, and coming in behind Councillor Edwards' statements there, and also what Councillor Bauer said a little earlier on. This is part of a two-pool strategy, but the Wonthaggi pool is there, and it's clearly in need of maintenance, and in fact, a complete and thorough rebuild. It's part of a two-pool strategy, and just in a comment to Phillip Islanders only, I would guess, our strategy around the sports facilities and the aquatic facility there was to focus on the sporting precinct first, as something that we could get over the line, and then to draw the aquatic centre for Phillip Island into that once we had a critical mass of use of the sporting precinct. So for Phillip Islanders who may have wanted us to keep pressing ahead with both pools on the front page, it was never going to happen. It's far too costly. This is getting things in the right order, and it's keeping the Phillip Island pool on the agenda. But we get the sporting precinct up there first.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm showing my age here because I was part of the council group that received the report back in 2016. I think it was, that said the Wonthaggi pool had 10 years to go before it was about to blow out. 9 years later, we tried the two-pool strategy. We've advocated all up Melbourne, all up Canberra, as far as the eye could see. It didn't work. We were told front on that we were never going to get the funding for two pools. This is a directional change. It's one that obviously I approve of. But the strategy now is very much, and again in Melbourne only yesterday we spoke about, it's not off the table, it's still there, but the strategy now is very, very clear that the Wonthaggi pool first, get the sporting precinct up there going, and then the pool then follows. We've already been told that it's much easier it's a smarter strategy to go after one pool first at a time rather than try and get two. So the sign of lunacy is to continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. We've done this for 9 years, tried to get two pools, didn't work. We've now changed the strategy, and hopefully we get a better result for everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Does anyone else have anything further to add to the discussion? Councillor Bauer, I thought you would.
Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting, and I thought I'd be a shag on a rock. Thank you, fellow councillors, for your words of encouragement. There is nobody in this room who doesn't know, doesn't know more than my commitment to the Phillip Island Aquatic Centre. That's why I fought to keep it in the future plan of council, as I said earlier, for agenda item 8.2. Projects can move from the future projects to the 4-year plan as quick as one election promise. However, I am a realist and a pragmatic person. In the current climate, our advocacy only allows for one aquatic centre. The Wonthaggi pool does need some very urgent attention. Not if, but when it breaks down, we have nothing comparable in the Shire. From a population centre perspective, renovating the Wonthaggi Swim Centre makes sense and, quite frankly, is our only option. The Wonthaggi pool will do the job for the Shire until such time as we're able to build the North-Paris Phillip Island Aquatic Centre. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. I don't think there's any further comment around the table, councillors. I just wanted to add to this debate a little bit to say that it's very clear from the comments around this chamber that the councillors have been listening to their communities, and I feel for Phillip Island, I really do. I know they've been advocating for a long time, but it is a difficult situation with funding very limited at both state and federal levels, and we can't deliver infrastructure or assets without the support of either the state or federal government. As Councillor Tassari said, we've been advocating very hard at both levels for a two-pool strategy, and we've fallen flat. So I will congratulate councillors for making this tough decision. It hasn't been an easy decision because we know how strongly our communities feel about this. So I just wanted to thank councillors around the table, and it's I hope that people recognise it wasn't an easy decision, and we haven't taken Phillip Island off the future plans, and if a sooner opportunity presents, we'll be all over it. So with that, if councillors don't have any further things to add to the discussion, I might ask Councillor Edwards, did you want to finalise
I think we're
on
all
this
on
one?
the same page, and it's basically the essence of how do you eat an elephant? You take it one bite at a time, and that's what we're doing. If you bite off too much, as we've seen, it hasn't worked, and this is, I think, a very palatable thing to take for advocacy and to leverage off council working with other levels of government to get it done, and I'm excited about that. I'm sure we all are, and having a pool facility that's functioning that's working and meets the needs of our community, our growing community, I think is absolutely paramount. And I'd like to thank everybody involved and put it to the vote.
Thanks, Councillor Edwards. All those in favour?
Reluctantly.
That's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Item 8.1, 8.11, Local Area Traffic Management Plan, Cape Patterson. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present to Council the Local Area Traffic Management Plan for Cape Patterson. Developed in response to community concerns around safety, pedestrian access and amenity, the plan proposes targeted interventions including speed reduction measures, pedestrian crossings, signage upgrades and intersection treatments. The plan aims to enhance safety for all road users whilst preserving the township's character. Council endorsement is sought to proceed with implementation planning. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover? Councillor Morgan, seconder. Councillor Edwards, Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think there's going to be much debate on this or any agenda item today, unfortunately. It's no fun for anyone. But I'm very happy to support this traffic management plan. The Cape Patterson community have long been waiting for this. Just quickly, I'd like to thank in particular Kathy and the Cape Patterson Residents and Ratepayers Association for their engagement on this. It was great to sit down and discuss the draft with them, and I hope they can see that Council has indeed listened to and accepted most of the recommendations. We need a more accessible and safe Cape Patterson, as there are many towns in Bass Coast that need the same, and this is a fantastic first step.
Thanks, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Edwards.
I'd just like to concur with what Councillor Morgan has said, and again, Cape Patterson has a wonderful feel to the community. It's very relaxed, and certainly those roads, having built in the Eco Village a couple of times ourselves, going down Seaward Drive, having those safe access points and slowing things down. And I think this is again something that's quite palatable. It's shovel ready now. It's ready to take for advocacy, and something that could be backed quite strongly.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Any other councillor wish to?
One
Yes,
brief one.
Councillor
Thanks,
Temby.
Madam Mayor. I think this Cape Patterson local area traffic management plan has been well communicated. It's widely supported. It should proceed.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Nothing further from the table, councillors. Back to Councillor Morgan.
Let's put it to the vote.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.12 on the agenda is the Environmentally Sustainable Design Policy. Ms Kennedy, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Council adoption of the updated Environmentally Sustainable Design Policy 2025. The updated policy sets the strategic direction and intent for embedding sustainable design principles into Council's projects. It aims to guide good decision making through a structured, principle-based approach that aligns Council's financial, environmental and infrastructure goals. Adoption and implementation of a fit-for-purpose environmentally sustainable design policy would serve as a clear response to Council's duty under the Local Government Act 2020, which is to promote the economic, social and environmental sustainability of a municipal district, including mitigation and planning for climate change risks. The updated policy will ensure that Council's diverse and essential assets are affordable, sustainable and fit for purpose now and into the future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Kennedy. Do we have a mover? Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Morgan, Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's great that we were far-sighted enough to have an environmentally sustainable design policy, and great that we've recognised that it needs updating. Climate change projections are being exceeded long before predicted. New technologies are coming online and at reduced cost, and importantly, circular economy principles are being incorporated in the new plan. ESD principles can be expected to assist us to build and maintain our buildings and other assets better. They'll be more functional, more comfortable, and at reduced cost over the lifetime of the asset. The use of sophisticated asset vulnerability assessment tools help us to minimise our impacts on the planet at the same time as we're maximising the usefulness, length of life and comfort of our assets. All organisations should implement these sorts of principles to their asset management activities. We should all be proud of the approach being taken by the Council with this policy.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Morgan?
Thanks. Fantastically said, Councillor Temby. I think the teenage climate activist in me is very excited about sustainable development, but the councillor in me that's been sitting over planning and asset management documents for the last few months would suggest that this is common sense. This is design policy that should be implemented by everybody doing anything in the middle of a climate crisis because it's cheaper and it's better for everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Any other councillor wish to add to the discussion? Councillor Temby, would you
Put it to the vote.
put
Thank
it
you.
to the vote? All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.13, review of instrument of delegation to council staff. Mr Dillon to introduce the report, please.
Thank you. And through the Mayor, the purpose of this report is for Council to review and adopt its instrument of delegation to Council staff, otherwise known as the S6. The functions of delegating powers, duties and functions of Council to Council staff allows for the effective operations of the organisation. Section 11 of the Local Government Act requires councils to review its instruments of delegation within 12 months of a general election. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr Dillon. Do we have a mover? Councillor Tassari, a seconder?
Yep.
Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is purely procedural.
Thank you. Councillor Temby, you happy to hand back to the vote? Or
Just one brief comment that the delegation facilitates the achievement of good governance for the community by empowering positions to make decisions on behalf of councillors. The council cannot function without these delegations, and whilst it's important to maintain oversight of our delegations and change them as seen to be needed, we trust that the delegations are implemented with care, responsibility and forethought.
Great,
Yep.
thanks, Councillor Temby. Any other councillors? Councillor O'Brien, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I didn't realise this would get a bit of conversation around.
Madam Mayor, look, if I just might add to what Councillor Tenby has said, is that from time to time things come up by exception from these procedural things, and in fact we had a discussion just this morning about that. So ratepayers need not worry that we're sort of just pushing all this stuff, offshoring all of this stuff, you know, back to officers. That by exception, you know, councillors, us, you know, we if something comes up that you know, that where we need to be engaged, we are engaged.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Any other councillor wish to add? Councillor Tassari?
Well, now I feel I should have said something, Madam Mayor.
That was unexpected.
And I certainly concur with what has been said by Councillor Tenby and Councillor O'Brien. And when I do say it is procedural, it is because it comes up regularly as we change delegation with different officers and different levels. But rest assured, we are across everything and we do get updated with everything.
Thank
Put
you,
it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Item 8.14, award of tender number 25006, refurbishment of old post office, Wonthaggi. Mr Dillon, please.
Thank you. And through the Mayor, this report to Council presents the outcome of the competitive tender evaluation for the refurbishment of the old post office, Wonthaggi. The evaluation panel assessed submissions against the selection criteria, determining TS Constructions Limited will provide Council with the best value for money. Although not the lowest cost tender, they achieved the highest score through a comprehensive understanding of the project, particularly the importance of buildings' heritage, along with demonstrated capability and experience in delivering projects of this character. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover of the Councillor Tassari? Councillor Morgan? Councillor Tassari, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a beautiful old building, and any of you that know Wonthaggi and know it well would know that the building is unfortunately in disrepair inside, but looking at it from outside, it's such a grand, gorgeous building. And to see this tender be approved today, and to get this building brought up to not only code but to where it should be, and that is usable. You can't go upstairs at the moment inside the building because the stairs are ruined. So plaster's rotted out. It's such poor condition. The roof leaks. So it's a shame to see a building like this in that condition, and to bring it back to its grand old day will warm the hearts of us Winthagiites that walk past it every day. And I'm looking directly at the security up the back there who is very much a Winthagiite.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Morgan, did you have anything you want?
Thanks. I don't have a lot to add. I might just foreshadow that I'll bring people back to this next time people are saying that we don't give enough love to our heritage in Bass Coast. Here's Wonthaggi getting a good touch up. I think it's great, and important that after adopting the disability strategy that we acknowledge that things like this need to be done to get them up to code and make sure everyone can enjoy our assets.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Is there anything further? Any Councillor O'Brien?
Madam Mayor, sorry to keep popping up, but we absolutely should and must protect our old spaces, our heritage buildings, those things of value upon which which have been around with this community for a long, long time. We don't want to see any more of these unfortunate things happening where something sits for such a long time that it's then beyond repair. So I absolutely commend this to councillors and absolutely support it.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Is there any other councillor that wishes to add? Back to Councillor Tassari.
Put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillor item, it's a long agenda. 8.15, annual supply of quarry and road making materials. Mr. Dillon, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, this report to Council presents the outcome of the collaborative tender for the annual supply of quarry and road making materials. This tender was jointly conducted by Bass Coast and South Gippsland Shire Councils, with each council to establish its own register of approved suppliers. The evaluation concluded that tenders Allen Contracting and Wholesome Australia Limited will satisfy the requirements of the service and provide Bass Coast Shire Council with the best value for money. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Tassari, seconder. Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari, did you wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Only to say that it's great to see healthy competition, and whenever you get as many as this put in for a tender like this, it can only help keep the prices strong and the supply that we need in there when we need it. So more than happy to put this to the recommend this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got a broader comment on the topic. It's important that we engage an environmentally competent supplier of these materials, and the cost of these materials must be seen in the context of the cost of any environmental destruction that may be done in producing them. I understand that the tenderer meets this expectation and therefore support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other councillor wish to add? Back to Councillor Tassari.
Happy to put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Item 9 is the statutory reports. 9.1 is informal meeting of councillors. Do I have a mover?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, have we missed 8.15?
Didn't we just do that?
Just did 8.15.
Sorry, I was...
That's okay, it is a long agenda. Councillor Edwards.
Quarry and road, yeah.
9.1, informal meeting of councillors. A mover, Councillor Morgan. Seconder, Councillor Temby. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Morgan?
No, thanks.
Councillor Temby.
That's my word.
Nothing further from around the table. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. 9.2 is Planning and Building Statistics, August 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Tassari. Councillor Bauer. Councillor Tassari, you wish to speak?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Bauer, anything to add?
Just put it to a vote.
That's my call.
You're okay with putting it to a... No, nothing further around the table, councillors? Councillor Temby?
Yes, look, I have significant concern with situations where vegetation removal has occurred where it would appear that it's not necessary to do the degree of clearing that has occurred. And we've got one case like this which I'm not happy about, but I think that's we've addressed this in our discussions about delegations and how we might have greater oversight of those sorts of things as they're being processed. So, yeah, just to make the comment that vegetation removal is an important issue for all of us. It's important for future generations as well as local amenity, and that I think we'll have some further transparency when it comes to vegetation removal in future.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other councillor wish to add? Councillor Tassari?
Put it to a vote. Thanks, Madam.
All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. 9.3, contracts awarded and/or extended under CEO delegation for August 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Morgan, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Morgan, would you like to speak?
It's procedural.
Thank you. Councillor Bauer?
Procedural.
Nothing from around the table. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. 9.4, councillor allowances and expenses for the council term 11th of November 2024 to 30th of June 2025. Do I have a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Tassari, seconder Councillor Bell. Wish to speak, Councillor Tassari?
No, thanks, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Bell? Nothing from around the table, councillors?
Just a disclosure, as I've had approved by the officers, I haven't yet got my expenses in as yet, so that's on the table. So my figures don't accurately reflect in there. However, what the expense is in the report of my expenses is actually fully covered. What is in the report is fully covered by an MAV scholarship that I attain up to the value of $3,000 as a future local government leader type scholarship for the MAV conference earlier this year. So that was up to the value of $3,000, which is fully covered the expenses that are in there, and that mine will be forthcoming. So, yep,
thank you, Councillor Edwards, for your transparency there. Any other councillor around the table wish to add to this one? Councillor Tassari, we're happy to
put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. 9.5 is receipt of Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes, the 28th of May 2025. I'm looking for a mover of the recommendation, please. Councillor Tassari, a seconder. Councillor Edwards. Councillor Tassari, you wish to speak?
Just to say that as a member of the Audit and Risk Committee, these minutes are accurate, and happy to move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Edwards?
Only briefly as well, that I went along as an observer with Councillor Thompson to the most recent Audit and Risk Committee and found it incredibly educational. It was great to see everything firsthand, and the depth of detail that they go to, and the skill level on that committee is quite amazing as well. So just like to say, I think we are in safe hands with that committee, and glad that there's somebody who knows what they're doing. Not that I'm saying we're not, but they certainly do have their eyes across everything on that committee, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Do any other councillors wish to make comment? Councillor Tassari?
Happy to put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. All righty, councillors, that brings us to item 10, which is urgent business. I don't have any listed. Looking around the room. The next council meeting will be held on 17th of November 2025 at Wonthaggi Civic Centre, Council Chamber, commencing at 1 p.m.
Point of order, Madam Chair. It's got 19th of November on the sign.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a little typo in my notes, which is, sorry, it is the 19th. Let's do that. The 19th of November at the Wonthaggi Civic Centre Council Chamber, commencing at 1 p.m. I'd like to also let the members of the public know in the council gallery that you're welcome to stay for a moment for a cup of tea and a few bickies. To those on live stream, I'd like to thank you for watching our meeting today, and I now call the meeting closed at 2:37 p.m. If we could remain seated until the live stream concludes. Thank you.